Today we're testing out the Yamaha TriCity 300 2023 model year. The only change to the last year, to the next year, actually to this year 2024 is or are the colors. There are no changes whatsoever. It's still the same scooter, still the same three-wheeler which we had like 2 or 3 years ago when it first came out. We still have a fairly modern three-wheeler, but with, as you can see already, with non-LED turn signals, which I think is not really nice. And also the display is a little bit outdated with LCD nowadays. You can see it under any lighting conditions. However, of course, it does not look that up to date anymore. Anyways, let's get to the controls, the display and the storage space. So on the left hand side of the handlebar, first of all, we have the most important switch here. This one here, I don't know if you can see it. This is the switch for the standing assist. And that means if you press that when you are, I think, below 5 kilometers per hour, so when you either approach very slowly or when you're standing still, you can push the standing assist button and then it will lock the hydraulics basically, so you will not be tipping over, for example, when you're standing at a traffic light or at a stop sign, I wanted to say. I mean, because of this three-wheeler technology, this scooter weighs 239 kilos. It is pretty heavy, and maybe also because of that, they have this standing assist that will help you keep it upright, that it doesn't tip over. I think it's especially useful if you use it with a pillion. Maybe the pillion wants to get up, get on the scooter or get off the scooter, you can just lock the standing assist. It will not tip over. We have the brake lever for the rear disc brake. We have the light switch here for high beam, low beam and passing light. We have a turn signal switch here. We have a horn switch here. On the right hand side we have the throttle here. We have the brake lever for the front disc brakes. In this case we have 2 brakes because 1 disc brake for each wheel. And we have 2 wheels, meaning we have 2 disc brakes, and it has pretty strong braking power. We have a emergency cutoff switch here. Also acts as a starter switch. We have the hazard light switch here. And we have the select reset button here for the display. So what is the first thing we see on the display? Yeah, it's LCD. Everything is clearly visible under any lighting conditions. We have the RPM counter as a band or bar graph basically on top. Goes all the way up to 9,000 here. We have on the left hand side, we also have the fuel tank capacity indicator. Next to it we have the clock. We have the speedometer on the right hand side. Down below we have the multi-data field, which we can switch around with a button here. I will show you in a moment. Also we have lots of control lights here for ABS, and you know, this means that the standing assist is locked at the moment, and if it's blinking it's not locked, so you may tip over. You have to be careful that when it's locked it will basically show as a solid light. I wanted to show you the data field down below. We can switch it with a button on the right hand side. Currently we have the odometer. Then we can switch it to trip. I just reset it, trip 2. We can have the actual fuel consumption here. We have the average fuel consumption here. We have the outside air temperature. We have the voltage of the battery. We have the traction control here. We can turn it on or off. In general, it's always turned on. We have the oil trip here. We have the belt trip here. And that's everything of all these data you can show in the display. So in the middle we have the ignition switch. Basically you can lock the handlebar here, you can open the seat from here, the seat and the fuel, and that's everything you can do with the ignition switch here. We also have a parking brake on this side here. And on the right hand side we have a 12 volt connection, which is actually a 12 volt connection. So if you want to charge your phone or something, you need a USB adapter for that. Cubby holes in the front we do not have on the left hand side or the right hand side, but we have a fairly big underseat storage compartment. We can open it up with the seat button here. We put it to open the seat here. So this is the Yamaha TriCity 300 model year 2023, and we'll take it out for a little spin. Let's go. So we're on the scooter. It is not so high, but you have to watch out. The seat is very wide, so still if it does not seem so high, the seat height, you have to watch out because your feet will go, or your legs will go quite a bit to the sides. And that's just what I wanted to point out. The seat seems to be very, very comfy. I feel it to be very comfortable compared to Honda, actually, much more comfortable. At the moment, you can see in the display, I do not have the stand assist activated because it's blinking. If I activate it now, then, as you can see, I have both of my feet up in the air. And I can move it around a little bit. You can also lock it in a other position than upright, a little bit to the left or right if you want, but of course that's not so safe. If you just keep on going, then if you start it up, then it will actually automatically deactivate this stand assist. So we can try this out now. We start it up. And it's still on, as you can see. Now if I just slightly pull the throttle, it will actually deactivate. It will beep and will deactivate. So here we go. As you can see, the stand assist is deactivated. So we have full control of the scooter again. And if you get used to it a little bit, for the corners, for the cornering, it only feels like a big, very big bike or scooter. But you don't really feel that you have two tires in the front helping you out in difficult situations. Very nice. And as I said maybe before, I have tried the Piaggio and the Metropolis, and I think this one is the best, and actually where it doesn't show you at all that you're riding on a three-wheeler. It just feels okay, a little bit heavier and everything, front heavy naturally, but you don't really feel that you have two tires on the front, and that's what I like. You have the full feeling of a scooter motorcycle, but you have the safety of three wheels or two wheels in the front. Very nice. I like it very much. The mirrors also seem to be quite nice, quite situated to the outside of the scooter. So you basically see everything in the mirrors. Pretty nice. As I said, seat is very comfy. You have a nice seating position to put your feet up there. Well, you can do it, but yeah, you can do it. You put your feet up there, but it's not that any more comfortable than, you know, just sitting like on a toilet here. Not much difference. So, okay, about the quality of the scooter, it is also, I think, of very high quality motorcycle. Yamaha plastics here. Everything looks nice, feels nice. Only this piano lacquer here, or whatever you call it, is not, I mean, of course it looks nice, but I think it doesn't serve a good purpose because it can get scratched quite easily. But the overall feeling of this is pretty nice. And go. The overall feeling, as I said, in the corners, it feels very nice. It feels natural, like a regular motorcycle scooter. I don't have any complaints, and I think it's the best of all the three-wheelers I have tried. Very nice. And it has a lot of capacity, storage capacity underneath the seat. I think it's definitely a nice scooter, a nice bigger scooter, nice bigger, safer scooter for traveling. If you put a top box to the rear, you have a very nice traveling scooter, I would say. You have a lot of safety features here, ABS, you have traction control, And you also have the standing assist, which will help you that it does not tip over when you're standing still. Maybe when you come to a complete stop at a stoplight or a stop sign. The seating position is not too bad here actually. As I said before, it is pretty nice. And it's also definitely a nice scooter for two people, I would say. In this here, there are no changes whatsoever, only the colors. We have 3 different colors. We have this color here, 2 other colors, also in the model year 2024. I think this gets replaced by a green or greenish kind of color. We have not the regular windscreen, we have the touring windscreen, which costs extra, but is very nice if you're as tall as me or as short as me. I'm 175, 5'9". The wind basically goes over my helmet here, there's no problem. You can be a little bit taller than me as well, maybe 10 centimeters taller, and probably is a still good thing. Unfortunately, of course, it's only in the middle naturally. On the outside it is quite windy here, so your arms are very much in the wind, but I mean that's what you would also have without windscreen, definitely. So I think I just wanted to point that out. Your legs are safe and secure from the wind here, I would say. It has good aerodynamics, I would say, so even when it's a little bit colder outside, it does not feel so cold on your legs, not too bad. And yeah, I do personally, I do like it very much. I was very close in buying it a few years ago, almost when it came out. I had to decide between the regular X-Max 300 or this one. This of course is quite a lot more expensive than the regular X-Max models, but I wanted to have it because of the stand assist feature. And you know, if you ride with a pillion, and when the pillion wants to get on or get off, it's much easier. You don't have you're not scared that the scooter will tip over or something, you know. This is definitely a plus, and it is definitely a plus for people who only have the regular car license. You can ride it with your regular car license in many countries. Also, that's what the brake here, the foot brake is made for. When you press on the foot brake, you basically brake with the front and rear brake, and it is very powerful, but it needs a lot of force actually to push it down. But when it actually brakes with a foot pedal, it is pretty strong braking power. It's pretty nice. I like it very much. And of course you can brake with the regular brakes as well, that's no problem. And I think that's everything I can tell you. If you have any more questions, I've been riding and testing this for quite a long time here, these 3-wheelers, especially Yamaha, I like very much. Yeah, if you have any more questions, let me know in the comments down below. I try to answer them for you. And that's about it. Thanks very much for watching. This has been Ride Out. Take care. Bye bye.